he can pull out of his hat, folks. And here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Metalopolis. It's my pleasure to introduce to you Team Ace's Nerchio. He's in the red trunks. He is playing Zerg to the south of this particular map. Versus his opponent in the close air position up to the west. We've got Grubby from Team Grubby. He is in the purple trunks and he is playing Protoss. Okay, so last game, I wouldn't say was close. Unfortunately, Grubby falling into the same trap that he kind of did before. He's got this two-base hyper-aggressive style at the minute, where he goes for a really big attack. Something unexpected, something sudden, something really vicious to try and decapitate his opponent. Unfortunately, thus far it hasn't actually worked. I mean, it had some effectiveness against Stefano, a two-base build that was able to knock out Stefano's third. The problem is that Grubby didn't macro behind it. We have the same problem there on that map on Shakura's Plateau. No macro behind it. The thing is, it also didn't do any damage either. Whereas with the Stefano game, that push did damage. The push did no damage for Grubby whatsoever. It was an 8-gateway Blink Stalker attack with Sentry backup. It did basically nothing. It was locked down very easily by Nerchio, and in the meantime, Nerchio was able to sneak a large group of muters into the base. I'm sorry, large? Did I say large? I meant 7. 7 muters into the base, which killed 28 workers, and that, as they say, was that. Nerchio showing extremely powerful performance there, and honestly, his play is so incredibly polished that that doesn't really surprise me. He makes things look effortless. Now, let's see what Grubby's got up his sleeve, however. Grubby's a very inventive player, and he's got an awful lot of competitive experience, so he's, without question, not rattled at this point. He never gets rattled, that's just the way of him. We'll see what he's able to do in this match and see if he can draw it even. This is a best-of-3 single elimination for the ESWC, so one of these guys is going out. Needless to say, neither of them wants that. There's a lot of money on the line, $66,000 prize pool for ESWC Grand Finals in Paris. Alright, so what you up to, Grubby? That is the question. Very standard opening from him, nothing all that unusual. You notice that Nerchio goes for 4 lings this time, as opposed to 6. He used the double extractor trick last time to push out a queen and 6 lings, so that he could get into the main of Grubby. He was able to do that. With a couple of lings, he picked off a single probe, and he also got a lot of scouting information. He was a nuisance for a very long time. He was able to keep that ling in there for several minutes. So that was definitely useful information to him. He got a feel for what his opponent was doing, and he was able to counter it quite nicely. This time around, however, he's just going to grab an expansion. He's got 4 lings. He's not seeing any real aggression coming in from Grubby here. An aggressive style might be the way to deal with Nerchio at this point. There's a possibility. And since Grubby's been training in Korea for the longest time, he's probably got a few ideas as regards to how to be aggressive, but we'll see. Big macro games against Nerchio have a tendency to end badly. Nerchio is... I'm trying to think of a weakness in Nerchio's play, and I honestly can't all that much. I mean, he's very, very good. He's only just really started competing in these major offline LAN events. He hasn't been to all that many, so if anything, I think the weakness is inexperience of live environments, and that really is about it. That's all I can think of. 2 gateways coming down, so it's going to be a 3-gate expand right here from Grubby with a pylon at the bottom of the ramp. In the meantime, Nerchio, few lings here and there. He will always try to build up a reasonable count of lings because he will try and get run-bys whenever he can to get scouting information, as well as pick off lone units here and there. He also likes to get really good map control with lings. He likes to absolutely cover the map in them and get a lot of scouting information, which he is able to do. Also gives an early warning as to what's coming. Okay, we've got 2 gas now for Grubby. Doesn't really indicate anything, honestly. Not yet, anyway. If he grabs another 2 on top of that, then we might be seeing something. Be interesting to see what tech path he decides to go down. We thought that he was going... I say we. I thought that he was going down the Dark Templar route before, but that didn't actually work out. That was not the case. He was going for a Blink Stalker build. A lot of sentries to sink the gas into. Nerchio now looking for one of his famous Ling run-bys. Is he able to get it? Good force fields right there by Grubby. However, Nerchio just having a little bit of a poke at that Nexus. Not really interested in going in just yet. The energy on those sentries is quite low. Only a few force fields available. There is the possibility he can poke in there and do some damage. Grubby with a Forge coming up right now. No sign of tech as of yet. I'm sure we'll find out once he's secured that. In the meantime, Nerchio grabbing his 3rd. Proxy pylon coming down right here for Grubby. Good positioning. A bit of 3-gate pressure on that area would be solid, considering all the lings for Nerchio are actually up front right now. Just poking and prodding at these defenses, trying to find a way through. There is actually a way through there if he's able to slide around it. I wouldn't engage at that point, though. Now, what is Grubby going to do? He has got +1 weapons upgrade coming in for his ground units. I would expect, honestly, a little bit of warped-in pressure from this pylon to try and harass this base. That would make sense. Lings are moving around right there. Ooh. That was potentially risky. There's a cannon up there now as well, so that is not a nice approach whatsoever. Plenty of force fields now available, so those are going to get shut down if they go anywhere near. Hallucination on its way up for Grubby. Obviously doesn't want to go robo just yet. Wants to use some of that spare sentry energy as a scout as opposed to building robotics. So we'll see what he decides to do with that. Follow up with a Twilight Council is perhaps more likely than robotics at this point on the basis of that. We shall see. Nerchio goes for the surround. He's able to grab that quite nicely. The +1 upgrade is not there yet, so not too many lings killed. Nicely eliminated there by Nerchio, just picking at his opponent's army here and there where he gets the opportunity to do so. He is very much an opportunist in that respect. Stargate play coming up from Grubby. There we go, that was the other possibility. Now the question is, what's he going to be able to do with that? He's trying to harass this, but that's simply not going to happen. There are quite a lot of roaches coming on the field right now. If it's going to be roach-heavy play, I would expect to see Void Ray here and there. We'll see how that one turns out for him. Spire on the way up for Nerchio, however. We've seen a lot of this Muta play versus Protoss this tournament. It's worked quite well. We'll see how well that one does. Grubby currently supply blocked. It's only just starting. That's actually quite severe. He ended up getting supply blocked as a result of that proxy pylon. That's never what you want. You always need to build a spare one. So that's delayed Grubby's army development quite a lot. You'll see that there's a pretty large build-up right there. He's going to go for an expansion, try and sink some of those minerals. It's going to be a double Stargate, actually. Very interesting. Does he have the gas to support that for Void Rays? Maybe. Can he get Phoenixes out? Yeah, he could. Phoenixes are not going to help him too much against roaches. It takes about 5 hours for a Phoenix to kill a roach. So, that's a bit of a pain. There's a Grubby's hallucinated Phoenix there. That's interesting. I have to wonder if he's going to hallucinate any more of those just to try and give his opponent an idea, because there's a real Phoenix on the way out. If he's able to mix those in, that would be quite unpleasant. 10 mutas on the way up right now for Nerchio. It's a good number. A couple of hallucinated Phoenixes continuing to move out, and a build-up of real Phoenixes in the base. Probably continuing to pump those out. The question is, what does he intend to do with them? If he's got enough, he'll be able to tear through the muta count. The problem is 3 Phoenixes is not enough to kill 12 mutas. Fairly interesting counter. It also gives him harassment potential after the fact. It's going to be a Muta Roach in terms of the attack for the moment. 4th expansion taken for Nerchio. Pretty much like clockwork. And a 5th at the gold. That's a little bit greedy. Certainly the potential to be harassed there. Now, those roaches are not going to take too much damage from the Phoenixes, but more to the point, the Phoenixes should be able to deal with this large Muta count. Unfortunately, Grubby not reacting quite quickly enough in order to do real damage here. Most of the gateway units are over here. They're mostly sentries and zealots, which is not ideal against a roach composition. In the meantime, Grubby's going to try and snipe off a few overlords, do a little bit of damage here and there. There is the attempted attack. There's already 1 photon cannon there, however. Sentry's just boxing them up, and will he get enough zealots in there to really do the damage? Looking for it. Can he make it? Yes, he can. Nice and easily does. A lot of force fields jamming him in there. There are now 8 Phoenixes on the battlefield for Grubby. And he's continuing to build them at a really large pace. 3 hatcheries going up for Nerchio, one of course being a macro hatch. +1 air weapons upgrade coming in as well. This is interesting. A lot of spore crawlers being forced in order to deal with this. There are now enough Phoenixes on the field, I would think, to deal with those mutas. That shouldn't be a problem at all. Now a few overlords being torn apart. They are armored units, but they still go down pretty damn fast. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looking for 6 taken out here. However, there's a big attack coming in. We've got Mutas now moving out. And once again, Grubby leaving those workers completely exposed to Mutalisk attacks. Lot of workers being killed. In comes the storm of Phoenixes there. Dealing with those Mutas very, very fast, cleaning them up. However, there is a Mutalisk attack also over here, which is being held, and a Zergling attack into the main. And, of course, there's not really a lot you can do with a bunch of Phoenixes against Zerglings. 41 workers to 71 right now. Looking a bit messy for Grubby. What's he going to do with all of these Phoenixes? Zerglings continue to tear their way through everything they can possibly get their little mitts on. Some major harassment has to happen here, and of course Spore Crawlers will... Well, they won't really shut that down. They don't have the DPS for it. He could easily got that entire gold mineral line, which is exactly what he did. Grubby's 12 Phoenix style right here, with the +1 weapon upgrade about to finish. Well, that's all of those drones screwed, and he knows it. Already pulling them off the line, so significant economic damage being done here. Workers killed. Nerchio still killed a hell of a lot more and has loads to spare as well. And Nerchio's done the exact right reaction here, I feel, which is to go Mass Roach. He knows the Phoenixes aren't all that helpful in that regard. Grubby continuing to pick off workers and queens where he can, but this big roach ball over here is what's the real threat. Thing is, Grubby's got the gateway count to throw that back. He's even got +1/+1 upgrade, whereas Nerchio's only a 1 and 0. So this is not terrible as of yet. Nerchio trying to work his way through that Nexus. A couple more salvos will bring it down. Yeah, that Nexus is toast, unless Nerchio decides to just spare it, which he's not going to do. In the meantime, these Phoenixes have continued to harass. He's lost a couple of them here and there. Corruptors now deployed against them, which of course is a good counter. Corruptors have a lot of HP. They're armored units. They're difficult for a Phoenix to bring down, even with a +1 upgrade. Phoenix is only really good against light units. Now, what's the situation? As it turns out, Grubby has actually equalized in terms of his worker count. Problem is, he can't really mine from here. He's having to long distance, and Nerchio's been sitting on 5 bases this entire time, so the worker count doesn't really tell the whole story, especially since some of those workers are mining at a gold base. This is what Phoenixes do to Corruptors. This is how long it takes to do damage to Corruptors. Hasn't even killed it. However, Grubby does have a follow-up with that. A very nicely timed attack here by Grubby. Needs to bring down the Spine Crawlers before they can start doing any real damage to him. Roaches getting crushed as they come in piecemeal to try and defend against this. 2 Spine Crawlers still up. A nice grab there, but a follow-up. A big fungal growth landing on those Phoenixes. Not enough to kill them off yet, though. Nice grab once again, trying to neutralize those infestors at the back, doing a good job. Grubby continuing to throw down on this gold expansion. Does he have the unit count? It looks like he does. Grubby swinging momentum back in his favor right here with his daring Phoenix Gambit. Doing enough harassment to equalize it, and he's going to take this gold out by the looks of it, unless some miracle happens for Nerchio. In the meantime, the third has been rebuilt for Grubby. This is looking really good for him. He is back in this game in a really big way. The Phoenix count has been reduced. However, Grubby has now transitioned into High Templar. Dark Templar, in fact. The problem, of course, being that Phoenixes into Dark Templar doesn't really make a lot of sense, because Phoenixes tend to cause Spore Crawlers to come down, and that happens. But, nevertheless, Grubby now taking control of this area, and that's going to be another hatchery blown up. Nerchio in a serious amount of trouble right now. Let's check his mining bases. Currently mining from 2, the same as Grubby. Grubby's going to need to grab an expansion of his own if he can. Burrowed Infestors coming in for harassment now. I don't have any photon cannons down. That photon cannon is not ready yet. A tense moment, perhaps. Infested Terrans coming down into this mineral line. Grubby has to respond to this immediately. These will rip through that mineral line really fast. Grubby not responding quickly enough at all. Infested Terrans actually focusing fire with a photon cannon. There's the quick grab. In the meantime, more Infested Terrans being tossed in there to cause a little bit of harassment damage. It's not doing a huge amount, though. Grubby's holding this well and now has a clear worker lead and economy lead. Really nice comeback here from Grubby. Excellent stuff. Nerchio could have potentially destroyed him there. Grubby held on really well. Now he's got the opportunity to get back into this. He's already got the momentum. Good force of Phoenix and Stalker. Putting a few hallucinated Phoenix in the mix just for a little bit of surprise as well. Hallucinated Phoenix may spot the gold. Yep, he already knows it's there anyway. He had control of that Zelnaga. But that is what he's up against. A big force there by Nerchio. It's a large army, larger than Grubby's. And there are a couple of infestors hidden to the side as well. The potential for some nasty fungals. Grubby decides Archons make more sense in this situation. Well, he's kind of not wrong. It would have been nice to see some DTs here, though. Oh, never mind. Nerchio has an Overseer. Alright, here we go. This is the engagement, I feel, that decides this battle. Fungal growth going off on the Phoenixes right now as they immediately get revved up, trying to lift up as many infestors as they can to take them out of the battle so there aren't more fungals going down on this big army. This Archon is ripping things apart. It already takes 6 or 7 kills before it falls down. The right flank of Nerchio collapsing, the left flank, and there's the jump. Grubby going for it. Will this be enough to break Nerchio? I'm thinking it very well might be. A quick blink right there with the Observer and able to eliminate all of the infestors. Really nice play by Grubby, and now a counterattack is coming in. That said, there are those infestors just hanging around, waiting to harass that middle line in the third. Grubby's grabbed a fourth. That's kind of hard to say, by the way. Nerchio with a pretty large army, but actually a lot of Corruptors in it, and he can't do anything with it. Grubby annihilates the gold again. This is exceptional play right here from Grubby. He is right back in this series. A dramatic re-entrance. Dark Templar defense. Slicing and dicing. One of those infestors taken out as well. Nerchio now trying to attack the expansion on the right. However, he's going to have some problems. His economy is extremely limited. He can't re-expand to the gold. He is almost mined out in his natural. He'll be mining off one base momentarily. In come the Zergling Swarm. Can he deal with that Nexus? Does he have the firepower for it? No, Grubby is way too close for that. GG, ladies and gentlemen. Grubby right back in the fight with an excellent comeback. One game apiece.